Okay, this is the bearing that we're going to design for our Solar Sprint car. Now let's do a couple quick measurements to verify the size. Okay, this says that the diameter is 6 millimeters. Okay, let's reset that. Let's go check the inside diameter, and that diameter says it is 3 millimeters. That's 6 by 3. Now the next thing we need to find out is what is the distance from here to there. And of course that says 2 millimeters. This is a 6 by 3 by 2 bearing. This bearing is commonly found on a variety of sources. I personally acquired these from Amazon. This is a steel races, which are the outer and inner are called races, and the balls themselves are actually steel as well. You can get what's known as a hybrid, which consists of 2 steel inner and outer races with a ceramic or jeweled ball insert. Those are very expensive and they are fast, but however, for our application, to meet the specifications and budget requirements, we're going to have to use the steel bearings. You don't have to use bearings at all, but it really does help the performance if you do use bearings. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to make sure my cap lock is set. I'm going to save this as SSSC V8 6x3x2 bearing. Okay, and we'll go ahead and highlight all that, copy it, hit save. We'll do a right mouse click on that, create a new component, and hopefully we can paste that in there. We can't, so we'll say SSSC V8 6x3x2x bearing. I think that should be the correct size. Okay, so we got that. Hit OK, and now we have that ready to go. So let's go back and reverse engineer this bearing here. We have our timeline down here. We have our linear pattern. We can take that out. We obviously have a sketch that we created for the ball itself. But let's go all the way back here to that sketch and turn our sketches on. Okay, I'm going to go to the front view here, and let's get some measurements on this. Okay, so first of all, the distance from here to there is 1.5 millimeters. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with that. We'll draw us a sketch on the front plane. We're going to go ahead and use our construction line. We're just going to come out here and draw us a line, and then we're going to do an offset of that line to 1.5 millimeters. Doesn't look like much, but it actually is. We're going to make that solid, and we're also going to make this a whole lot smaller. Whoops, we'll use that one. We'll take and modify this one as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to now set a size on this of, I'll go ahead and dimension that. It's got 13 millimeters. We want 2. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a coincident from this point here to this point there. I'll do this here real quick. Draw me a vertical line, which is fine. I'll draw a vertical line, and I'll make that vertical line solid. And then I'm going to take and make this point here coincident to that. Now I got that in there. That's good. We know that dimension is going to hit escape. We know this dimension is right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the trim command, and we'll trim that out. Okay, so we've got, see what we got here. We've got one line going this direction. I'm going to go ahead and draw another line. I'm going to hit the line command, go back to my front view orientation, just draw a line up here like so. Okay, so I've got that line in. Now let's go and make sure that that is okay, that's the construction line. So we're going to click on that. We're going to make that solid, and it's not all the way extended, so we'll hit our S command for shortcuts. We'll find our extend command, and we'll extend that down to, let's see where we're at now. I think we're there. Okay, good. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to make sure it's a solid line. There we go. Okay. So we got, so far so good. Let's go back to the bearing. Let's take a look at this right here. First of all, I'm going to measure from here to there. Okay, that's 1.5 millimeters. Okay, so we'll come back to ours and we'll draw a line from this side to that side. and we'll make sure that that line is solid. And we know that the distance from here to here, make sure we get that, is 1.5 millimeters. Okay, we got that. Now let's go to here and here and measure that. We're going to measure from here to here, and that says 0.5 millimeters. Okay, that's pretty small. So we'll draw a line across here, convert that to a solid line. We'll do a dimension from here to there, and we're going to say that that's 0.5. Okay. Now we're going to come up here to the top. We're going to draw another line from here to there. Make sure that's a solid. And we're going to go ahead and dimension that from here to there. I'm going to make sure that's 0.5. Whoops, not 3, but 5. Okay, so we got that done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some trimming. So I'll hit my T command for trim. Trim that out. Trim this out right here. And we'll trim this out and this out here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn constraints off because I want to be able to see this a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off as well. Trim, that's all trimmed out. Okay, nothing to highlight there. Okay, so now I'm going to roll out here a little bit. I'm going to grab, hit escape, grab that dimension and kind of pull it down so it's a little out, because by doing so I see I'm missing a line right here. So I'm going to draw this line from here to there. Okay, make sure it's a solid line, and I'll go ahead and hit my trim command. Trim this out. Draw that line again. Make sure that's solid. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and draw a construction line. Find the midpoint here. Come all the way up here to this. Find that midpoint. So I've got this construction line, and let's go back over here and let's check out the diameter of this cutout right there. So what I will do is I'll measure that, and that says radius is diameter is 1.2 or 6 on the radius. So we'll come over here and draw a circle by center, find the midpoint. We'll say 1.2. Okay, we'll make we're going to go ahead and make this solid. We're going to go ahead and hit the trim command. Trim this out, trim this out, trim this out. This as well. This and this. So we can see it a little bit better. I can turn my dimensions up. Okay, that looks really good. All right, now we've got our sketch drawn. That's nice. We've got the cutout for the bearing in there. Let's go back and look at this other one, because the next step on the timeline was to go ahead and do a revolve. So that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and do a revolve. Let's kind of rotate this around so we can see the races are in there, the bearings, and we've got that. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'll finish that sketch. I'll come up here to revolve. I'll grab this surface and this surface and hold that one down. And we're going to say select our axis. I'm going to select this guy right there. And voila, there's our bearing with the race in it. Looks kind of like that one there, doesn't it? Okay, the only difference being is you see the sketch. Let's go back over here and see if I can see my sketch. Okay, expand that, go to bearings, turn that on. Yeah, I can see my sketch too. Okay, that looks good. So now what we need to do is we need to go back to this. And first of all, let's go back over here and save our file. We don't want to lose the work we put in. Okay, that looks pretty good for right now. Okay, let's just come back to this in a moment. I need to get some water. Okay, I've got this bearing done. I went ahead and turned the sketch on so I can see it. I'm going to come back over here to this one right here. I'm basically going to do the same thing. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn my sketches on. And now what I'm going to do is come down the timeline. And I'm going to turn off the body so I can see this sketch. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this guy over here. So we'll go to the front view. We'll go ahead and turn off our body so we can see the sketch. And we're going to come up here and draw a sketch in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch. I'm going to go on that plane right there. And I'm going to roll up here and I'm going to put a circle in just like this. I'm not going to go all the way because I don't know the correct dimension, but I do know I can come over here and grab that dimension by hitting the I key for inspect, and that's going to tell me it's a diameter 1.15. Okay, we can do that. So we will come back here to this. We'll set a dimension of this to 1.15. I was very close. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a construction line from the center here up to there. And I'm going to hit my S key and find my extend command and extend it down to that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the trim command. I'm going to trim this out. Okay, so now I've got this kind of shape right here. Alright, what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and we want to do a revolve on this shape right here. Going to make sure that we're all connected. Looks like we are. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Okay, and we'll do the revolve, and I'm going to, apparently we don't have that have that as closed. Let me go back to the sketch, and I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to come back to this on the front view, and let's go and look at this other one, and that was a solid line. That's probably my problem right there, so I'll go ahead and make this a solid line. Let's go back to the sketch here, grab that line right there and make it solid. Yep, that closed it off. Okay, hit finish sketch. So we'll come back over here and do a revolve. We know we got the center line selected, so let's grab that and let's say okay. So it should have created a new body. Well, let's go turn the body on and see if it's in there. I can't tell. Oh, there it is right there. Sure enough. Okay, that's a good thing. So we've got our bearing in there now. Now we got to fill up the bearings and put more in there. So that is good. All right, we'll stop for a second, come back. Okay, in this original design here, you see this design here has got a flat flange that comes out on the wheel. And that the assumption there is this wheel is glued onto this axle. But there is no bearing, so you've got a lot of friction that exists right here. Now on the new design that we came up with, let's go back to the new assembly. On the new assembly, we left an opening here. If you look up here, this hollow open area around this axle as a place to put our bearing. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, let's go double check our bearing is in our library before we close that file out. Yes, it is. So we'll go ahead and save this. And now we're going to go ahead and come over here to this file right there, and we're going to drag that bearing over here. If I can select it, it's placed the bearing in there. I'll move this out. Okay, now I need to rotate this around. I'll say 180 degrees, sorry. I guess I had that wrong. I should make it 90 degrees. Better. Okay, we'll do that. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the J key to join, and I'm going to go find the center of that. I'm going to go find the center of this, and looky there. There is the bearing placed. We'll hit OK. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now we can slide this bearing further in if we desire to do that. I don't know if that's really necessary or not, but we'll go with this for right now. Okay, we'll roll out here. Got that one bearing in. Rotate this around. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to place the bearing on this side. So I'll go take this out here and put it in outer space, okay, or on the file, not outer space. We're going to rotate this around 90 degrees, okay. We're going to move this, kind of pre-position it up there. We're going to hit the J key for joint. I'm going to go grab the outside edge of that, grab the outside edge of that, and there she is. Good. So let's kind of get that back in a 3D perspective view. Okay, let's go and close our parts library out. Rotate this up here, turn it around. Yeah, that looks really nice. Got that bearing in place, got the drive gear in, and we've got our motors in. It's looking really good here. Okay, well let's stop now. I guess we need to go on and design some wheels.